About the Constitutional Convention, it's my understanding that a few states have rescinded. I think Georgia was one that does not want a constitution. They voted for it and then they rescinded. I don't know if anybody's counting that. I don't know too much about that situation. I hope it does not happen. But I'm calling about a little letter to the editor that was in a local Wilkesboro newspaper. And it's very short, and I just want to read it here. It talks about, to the editor, the bill that is being pushed in 18 states requires all ammunition to be encoded by the manufacturer in a database of all ammunition sales, so they will know how much you buy and what caliber. Nobody can sell any ammunition after June 30th, 2009 unless the ammunition is coded. Any private-held uncoded ammunition must be destroyed by July 1, 2011, including hand-loaded ammo. They will also charge a half-cent sales tax on every round, so every box of ammunition you buy will go up at least $2.50 or more. If they deprive you of ammunition, they do not need to take your guns. The legislation is currently pending in 18 states, including Alabama, Arizona, California, Connecticut, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Maryland, Mississippi, Missouri, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Washington. And the guy says here, it's only a matter of time before it comes to North Carolina. So we've really got to get busy. I was wondering if y'all had any info on that.
We had reported on that earlier in the year, and I agree with you 100%. The first thing that will happen will be making it very difficult to acquire ammunition, and anyone that's been buying ammunition lately knows the price of it's went up. And I'm glad to report that just this past week I was in Walmart here in Statesville, and I bought the last 2 boxes of 22 caliber bullets. Bullets and guns are flying off the shelves, and I, for one, am glad that people are using their Second Amendment rights while they still got one, because everyone that's the least bit informed knows that Barack Obama's track record is a gun grabber. Isn't that right, Brian?
Absolutely.
What do you foresee?
Well, I heard that. I'm sorry.
What do you foresee happening next year under this presidency?
Well, I was reading on Infowars.com that his chief of staff that he wants, Rahm Emanuel, co-wrote a book called The Plan. And he wrote it in 2006, and in the plan it talked about some major gun control efforts. And Barack Obama has that track record, and his Rahm Emanuel, and most of, and even George Bush. George Bush was behind the outlaw, the upholding of the D.C. gun ban. So, I don't know where this is going to head if they do, what they want to do here. I just know that my thought is that perhaps all 50 states ought to pass their own Second Amendment type amendment to their state constitution, and have listed that ammunition and firearms, guns, firearms, and ammunition are one and the same. So they're not separated. So you can't outlaw ammunition, because if you do that, then you've outlawed guns. You've succeeded, because they are one and the same. And I just think that our states, we should get busy and start getting the petitions going and get on the ballot next year a Second Amendment type gun rights for North Carolina and for all 50 states. That's my idea. So I don't know what you all think about that.
Well, tyrants throughout history, they try to remove our rights, our ability to defend ourselves. And again, if we don't defend our Constitution, it's ours to lose, period.
We got another phone call, sir. I appreciate you calling in, and we're going to try to get as many people on the air, but I agree with you 100% on petitions and save our Second Amendment for the state. But we're going to move on to another phone call. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Apparently we lost that phone call. If you'd like to call back in, phone number is 873-1400 and 336-499-0681 is our Davie County number. I agree with what that gentleman had to say. I think that's a great idea because I personally think that next year, if we see any kind of unrest in America due to this economic debacle that they're forcing on us, they will use it to legitimize trying to take our Second Amendment rights. And I wanted to report this, if I could get it in today, that the Marine Corps Air and Ground Combat Center has dispatched uniformed and presumably armed soldiers to assist the California Highway Patrol in the operation of unconstitutional sobriety checkpoints in San Bernardino County, California, the largest county in California. We got another phone call. We'll go to the phones. Hey, you're on the Real News.
Yes, sir. I just have a couple of comments to make.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
What's the first thing you take away from a country when you want to take it over?
Guns.
Their weapons, that's right. And secondly, Primo Khrushchev said, communism will take over your country. Do it from within and without firing a shot. And I think that's just what's happening there.
Is that what, do you see that our, that's why this economic debacle is happening and we're moving so rapidly into socialism?
Could very well be, sir. Could very well be. If China ever called in the debt that we owe them, we'd be worse shape than what we are now.
Well, I agree with you. I think that America is in peril and it's high time that everybody wake up.
That's for sure. And there was a documentary, I guess you might call it, a few years ago. Charlton Heston was the commentator. It was from the NRA, and they showed Canada, England, and Australia. No weapons at all. They showed them cutting them up and discarding them and everything. You couldn't even own a gun in these countries. And there was a sharpshooter in the Olympics from England had to leave the country to practice. But that's what's happened. It's happened there. They have no weapons, and they were interviewing criminals. You couldn't see their face, but they were interviewing criminals, and they said, what do you think of this idea? That's the greatest thing that ever happened, is that we can get all the guns we want. We can get all the guns we want. We can walk into a house and rob it and kill everybody, and then have no problem getting guns. Okay, that's all I wanted to say, sir.
Well, I appreciate you calling in. Feel free to call back anytime, and anyone that would like to voice their opinion before we go off the air, 704-873-1400, 336-499-0681.
It is, this gentleman was pointing out, of course, Great Britain, Australia led the way in gun confiscation, and we look at what's happening there now. London alone, approximately 5 million surveillance cameras, total Orwellian state. I mean, it's going to get to the point where you can't even escape the glimpse of a camera anywhere within London, and this is what's going to happen here, period.
And this goes back to our old saying, when the government fears the people, we have liberty. And we have to have guns for the government to fear the people. But when the people fear the government, we have tyranny. And I, for one, believe when the Founding Fathers wrote the Second Amendment and they said the right to bear arms would not be infringed, they picked that word very carefully. And a permit is permission, and you can or cannot get a gun. I know from experience, you know, when you fill out the paperwork now, it's just more and more and more. And I for one, am glad. I am jubilant that the American people are buying guns and stockpiling ammunition. What's your thoughts, bro?
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, we're literally seeing millions and millions of rounds of ammunition flying off the shelves literally every week now.
Yeah, so we went to the pawn shop and they said their sales were up, what?
The one told me it was up 38% from last year, and this was actually before Obama was elected president when I was there.
So a lot of people are afraid that, just as the gentleman called in, where they're wanting to encode ammunition, it's coming. And who's going to turn in their ammunition that they bought with what that cost? And as I was reporting here in California, we're seeing the Marines being used at checkpoints with the Highway Patrol now.
Total violation of posse comitatus.
Total violation, and this is just the beginning. The government is saying they're bringing troops home to deploy them here in the street for civil unrest.
Again, people, I mean, this is ours to lose. If we don't defend our rights, they're gone, period.